Good to see you all. Welcome here. It's going to be a little bit of a different day. Mostly, I just want to say hi to everyone who shows up and feel a sense of celebration-y. We just hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm going to let myself be joyful about that. It's really wonderful to watch this grow and to watch this community increasingly attract the best of people. And that's you guys. So Emiliano, thank you for being here. Good morning. Thank you for doing so. You all are so welcome. And I'd love you today to be present with just a wide range of what are your questions in life? What are your inquiries? What are your insights that you'd love to share? But anything I could do to be a spiritual medium in this day, I'm open to questions and just following your lead on the subjects. I will begin, however, with a story, and that's what we're going to transition into afterwards is your questions. So please feel free to post them, and we'll progress. Sarah, good morning. Thank you for being here. I have two, not tutus, just two powerful spiritual lessons to share with you today that feel timely. Years ago, I was a traveler. I want to emphasize to you all, for anyone who's new, that I hold an extreme space, and people hold our lives as our medicine. So when you learn from and with me, you are tuning in to a very abnormal life path. I spent 10 years without my own home. And that kind of experience frees you up, because when you're not locked into the same place far more than you might expect, you can be open to all sorts of different insights and changes. Much more than we understand as human beings. When we are rooted to a place, we are actually accepting much more than that place. We're accepting the connections with the neighbors. We're accepting the tone of the community. We're accepting the energy of the geographics. And if you know that next month you might be somewhere else and you don't even know where you can be, that frees up your mind and your spirit to explore. So for one of the longest times, I stayed in the same community for a year. It was near where I grew up, and I was essentially tired and came a little bit back home, and I stayed on a farm nearby with some friends. And I worked so hard and so ridiculously to set up a very big garden. And there hadn't been a garden at this place. And I was silly. I didn't really know a lot about gardening. I'd lived with other people who gardened and did what they asked me to. So I had enough experience to get going. But for a week, I combed through this big space that we were clearing to make a garden, and I took out all the rocks. And at the end of the week, a guy who was going off to work as a farmer every day came back, and he looked at me with kindness. And he said, you know, roots grow around rocks, right? And I just looked around. I'm like, wow, I just did all that work. And I was convinced it was the right work to be doing. And it was a little bit silly. Well, nonetheless, I did a lot of other things too that were valuable. And I made cages and I planted plants and I set out different boundaries around sections. So there were lots of different plots for squash and tomatoes and cucumbers and kale and pumpkins and on and on and on. We planted everything, watered it, and started to see all the plants grow. And then things went wrong. It was maybe June. Almost nothing had fully grown. And I couldn't stay. And this was common. I often knew that it was time to leave a place. And so I made the decision to go, and it was heartbreaking. I put my whole heart into the garden and the garden of the community that I'd been in. The hopes, the dreams that we were nurturing dreams and hopes together. There were a bunch of people there, 15, 20 people. And to watch this slip away was terrifying. And I had to go with it in a manner that I was learning to do at the time, to surrender where I was and to shift my entire attention into the hope of the next step. Well, I did. $250, me and my girlfriend hitchhiked across the country with a friend. I mean, we like posted, is anyone driving across the country? We found a place, found a ride. And Spirit swept through and cleared away. There's a street sweeper outside. And Spirit swept through and cleared away everything. And I let go. I let go and got on this ride. Pursuit of Happy, good morning. Honor, welcome. Thank you for being here. Claudia, welcome. Thank you for being here, Claudia. It's a joy to have you with us. So I got to the other side, the West Coast. Went through some adventures, camped in the woods. That was my plan. We're going to camp in the woods until it's clear what to do. And it worked. Camped in the woods until someone suggested that we met in the region we were in. There's a town I know where there are a lot of farmers hiring people. So we went there and we camped there. Couple weeks, go to the woods, camp, set up life, make simple things work. And then boom, I met someone. What you do is you follow the opportunities that are vibrant. So if you stay in the same place all the time, you're not going to get exposed to opportunities. So go on walks. If you go on walks, you might get a hint. You trust that Spirit's watching all the time. But you have to do some of the work to open yourself up and put yourself in a position to receive opportunities. So there's an art form to this. So go on a walk, meet somebody who says there's a little festival coming up. Talk to them about it. They know the person who's organizing volunteers, ask to volunteer, get into the festival, washing dishes. I'm washing dishes with a man. It's very interesting. So just value everything that's vibrant under such circumstances. So talking to him for a while, and he has a really interesting home. And he says, I'd like you to come over and visit. So go to visit. It's beautiful. Several hundred acres of woods. A bridge it's exquisite. It's so interesting. It's made out of scrap metal, but it's just like intricate over this gully. Deep stream, like. Then paths through the woods, hundreds of acres. I mean, long paths into like through this, down under a big, beautiful field in the middle of the woods. Gorgeous. With a giant garden, and it's thriving. Everything's healthy. Everything's just vibrant, colorful. It was exquisite. It was like this little haven. And then the guy turns to me and he says, take as much as you want. We have plenty. We filled up 2 bags of vegetables. We didn't have much food. Corn and cucumbers and peppers, tomatoes, just huge bags of food. And my heart just burst open. And in the same time, I could feel so deeply grateful to this human being who was giving us such a gift. Also, I was able to appreciate there's a certain level in which I don't know if I want to say earned it, but having put all that work into a garden somewhere else, when I let it go with grace, without resentment, without malice, without, this is unfair, I didn't do that. I just left. I knew it was time to leave. And the world showed me a harvest somewhere else. This is the kind of gift I cannot encourage you enough to look for in your lives. That Spirit has a different kind of accounting. If you put your heart into creating something and it doesn't come through in one place, if you can transcend the resentment and blame, you shift yourself out of a materialistic paradigm. You shift yourself out of matter. You stop putting matter first, things. You stop putting things first, and you respect you didn't lose the spirit of what you created. Life is like a mandala. You know of mandalas? Buddhist monks have bowls, many bowls of different colored sand, and they place grains of sand in patterns, incredibly intricate patterns, often on the beach. And they could spend days doing this, all day long. Many of them practice the art of one grain of sand at a time. Exquisite images. And then the tide comes in and washes it away, or the rains come down, wash it away. They create something in order to give it back to the world, but the creation is in their minds and hearts. And when we live this way, you can trust and respect that if your dreams don't come through in one place, maybe the world has something better in mind. I invite you to transcend your resentment, because it's resentment that prevents this. It's blame that prevents this. If you stay facing backwards in your mind and heart, and you disrespect, you create any kind of nasty energy by saying, I can't believe they did this to me. And you're waiting to tell strangers about the mean thing someone else did to you. Why would you do that? You're just meeting someone new. Do you really want to teach them how to think about your own negativity? Now, look, people get misused. I'm not suggesting that you simply allow yourself to continue to be misused. Far from it. I'm saying leave situations that are bad for you. If it's really that bad for you, if you're really being treated unfairly, leave. And respect that spirit sees you. What you put your heart into will come back to you. And the work that you do to forgive. Forgive doesn't mean go back to the same people and let them keep treating you badly. Forgive means leave, but don't hold the rage inside yourself. Don't hold the negativity. Don't hold the story. Don't tell it to other people. Don't tell it to yourself. Because you're freeing yourself from the pain of it. You're freeing yourself from the toxicity. This is where it begins, making the world a better place. And as you let go in this way, the world will show you a harvest. You didn't make the physical place. You didn't make the physical gifts. You made the spiritual presence, and you don't lose the spiritual presence that you create just because you leave circumstances or places or people. It still exists in your heart. And if you keep it cleansed by refusing to invest your spiritual energy in resentment, make clear, when we resent, when we blame through the stories in our head about the past, we are investing our spiritual energy in creating our version of that story. I could tell a different story. Every single one of you here listening to this, I want you to tell yourself a negative story. What's a negative story that you tell yourself already? I want you to tell it again. Who's hurt you? Who's treated you like shit? Come up with one in your mind right now. Please. And if you want to, post in the comments or hold it. Just hold it and be honest with yourself. Who has done you wrong? Now start to see the story. See the story in your head. Do you want to tell me this story? Do you? Do you really? Some of you I've never talked to before. Do you want this to be how I know you? Do you want this to be one of the strongest impressions you give me? Now, some of you might be like, but I don't want to just like hold it inside and repress it. No, you don't. But could you tell this story in a different way? Now, look, base level, if you've lived through a shitty circumstance and you suffered, you don't want to suffer again, right? So respect that that's one of your highest values. One of your highest needs in this circumstance is to relate to the dysfunction of your past in a way that you don't want it to happen again. I don't want it to happen to you again either. And I suggest to you, I might be actually better at helping you make sure it doesn't happen again than you are. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is if you keep telling the same stories in the same way, you are very likely to recreate those stories in another form. Truly. But if you don't acknowledge the pain and the resentment and the violation that you've been through, you might also recreate the same story, just in a different manner. So, what can you do? The first thing you want to do is look at this time with an more open mind. When you just expand your boundaries of your mind and you soften and be like, I don't want this to recreate, but how can I understand this in a different way? You can rewrite the past. That's all I want you to remember. I'm not going to give you more of a formula yet because this is such a big deal. You identify a negative story and you broaden your mind and loosen your understanding to say, how can I tell this in a different way? That's all I want you to get this week. That's all. Now I'm going to say hi a little more and then we're going to move on to the next story, the second lesson. Jonathan, thank you for being here. Grand Rising. It's a joy to have you. The Amy Joe Show. Thank you for being with us, Amy. I'm excited to have you. Looking forward to talking with you in the sanctuary. Thank you for signing up. Now, this part of the story, I love this part of the story. First of all, I want to say thank you for your likes. Much appreciated. We're getting out there. Wildflower Fire is spreading more than ever. We just got 4,000 subscribers in April and another 1,000 since then, and 700 been the past month. And I do think this matters because this is people, you are real human beings. And for every 100 people that watch new, there are a couple who become present, who share your truth with us, who comment and open yourself up to meeting us and learning. And what we're doing is we're creating a network. And to watch this grow in a way that is true to our hearts, it's awesome. So thank you for your trust and your presence. And I deeply look forward to what we're creating with each other because there's something turning on. For this to make sense, I'd like to tell you the next part of this story, which is about the same lesson, the same time. So for those of you who missed it, I had traveled with a girlfriend across the country, hitchhiked with barely any money, and camped until we met someone who introduced us to someone who lived on several hundred acres in Oregon. And it was just exquisite. It was maybe 8 houses over 100 acres, and they were beautiful. I mean, crafted from nature. Every piece of wood seemed to be carefully chosen, polished, integrated, fit with each other. It felt like a fairy house a mile into the forest. And after a bit of being shown around by this extremely kind man, it's like, what are you doing? Like, how did this happen? And he said, let me tell you a story. In the early 70s, I came here. Some friends told me that there was a gathering. So we showed up and there was hundreds of people here. And it was just a nonstop party. We stayed here for months. Food would show up, somebody would go away, do a job, come back. We were having bonfires and music every night. And it started to get out of hand. Now, people were kind, people were hippies, but it was rough too. People were hippies. And the hyper energy translated into recklessness, and the forest caught on fire. Now, keep in mind, there were even fewer people here then than there are now, and it burned. It burned a lot, and we were scared. Everybody had to run away. We lost a lot of our stuff. And when the forestry finally came and put it out, we'd lost everything that we'd had here. It was really, really devastating. And a man came over to the group of us that were left. Maybe half the people were gone. And a man came over to us and he said, well, looks like I'm going to have to ask you all to go. We said, what? He said, Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you to go. And this guy had been with us for months. He'd been hanging out with us, singing with us. It was his land. He had never told us that it was his land. Now, the man telling me this story was truly gracious, kind human being. You don't meet many like this. He had lived in this spot ever since. And so naturally I asked him how. He said he'd gone to this man and said, "Will you please let us buy it? We love it here." And he said, "No, you wouldn't take care of it. Look at what just happened." And we stayed with him for another week or so talking about this. And he finally set conditions. And his conditions were stringent. Like he needed us to pay him regular payments. They were very reasonable. The price was reasonable, but he wasn't going to compromise it. It needed to be tight. And so 8 couples ended up staying. And they got jobs they believed in. They had been rejecting society, and he wanted to support them in that. That's why he'd let people stay. But he wanted them to be present and invest and care in a way that he knew needed to happen to take care of the space. So one couple got a job, one man and a couple got a job tagging owls to protect them for the Forestry Service. This man that I met and his wife learned to weave baskets. And they wove these incredible, intricate backpack baskets and sold them at festivals. And the man was patient with them. He supported them in their intentions, but he made them focus and create a clear plan of how they were going to make this work. And it did work. And over the course of a long period of time, they paid off the homes, and they learned to make their own homes. They paid off the land. They learned to make this bridge out of found objects. They learned to make the homes out of intricate, interconnected ranges of wood. Beautiful. I mean, craftsmanship that they had to learn. They learned how to do this. And that's who got to keep that land. That's who got to stay. And it was thriving. Anybody who's traveled enough and been a little awake spiritually, you can tell the difference between a space on the planet that's sick and a space on the planet that's thriving. Now, this is why the man who owned the land was so clear that he wanted people who could really care for the land. When you care for land, you become a part of it, and your spirit shapes everything in the ecosystem. This was a very healthy place. It was healthy from their love and care that they invested in not only their homes and the paths, but in a way that affected the entire forest, hundreds of acres. This story has never left me for a very, very simple reason. And I want you to feel this. This is what Gaia is doing with us. You feel it? This is what she wants me to tell you. And she told me something yesterday that I did not want her to tell me, and I'm going to tell you before I hesitate. She's not going to talk to most of you. She has done me a great honor by teaching me to talk with her. I am by no means the only one she talks to, but you got to work for it. Not only do you have to work for it, you have to work in a way that tunes in. You have to be someone who cherishes what you are given. You have to be someone who cherishes the spirit you're given. If you're busy spending your spirit resenting people in your past, resenting circumstances in your past, resenting yourself for failures in your past, she has no tolerance for such. She'll care about you, but she's not going to give you a bigger budget. You're already wasting what she's given you. You got to work with what you got and learn to be efficient. Moreover, this is who gets to stay for a while. This man had allowed hundreds of people to camp out on his land because he acknowledged that he was a steward of the land. He didn't think of it the way many people do. He was a steward of that land. He was perfectly comfortable turning it over to people who would care about for it more. And he only allowed those who demonstrated that they were going to care that deeply to stay. And it worked. They'd been there for decades. This is what Gaia is doing with us. She invited a grand party. I assure you, this is how it worked. She invited a grand party. Please listen to the video from last week. Sing with the Earth Song. This is what she did, and you can learn to remember. You can feel it. You can feel the sense that at one point you entertained the idea of coming here as a possibility. You went through the process of choosing to be here. And then you came and you forgot. And then we've been having basically a crazy ass long-term multi-century party where she gives people a ton of permission. That's what this has been. And she knows how this works because she's done it many times before. Spirits that incarnate and forget go through the arc of having to deal with material reality in relationship to animals and territory and scarcity. Changes you in terrifying ways. But the arc of this progression is that gradually, over the course of thousands of years, the cultures do actually evolve to the point where we start to make decent decisions. Takes a while. Murder's too easy. For thousands of years, people do end up resorting to killing each other to claim space. But we've already turned the corner. A mass range of human beings know enough about what it is to bring our love into the material plane that it just hurts too much to resent. It just hurts too much to fight over space when it is actually possible to learn to compromise and ultimately to learn to share. And so she's watching. She's been watching for a long time, right here. She hasn't been somewhere else. She's been right here, just like that man, watching us. And when we say we want a better life, she says, look at what you're doing with what I already gave you. Look at how you're treating your body. Look at how you're treating your body. Why would I give you more? Look at how you're using your spirit. You still hate your mother. You got to get yourself into a space where you reflect on your past enough to address the biggest points of drain. How are you wasting the most spirit? Because there is a shift you can go through. And my eyes light up as I say it, because I'm happy for you. If you address your past and you identify the theme, the story, the event, the relationship that is draining the most energy, you get to reclaim that energy. This is what I want for you. I'm speaking to some of you very specifically. I know how much resentment you're bearing. I know how much blame you're bearing. And I have compassion for the suffering you've been through, but you got to stop putting it on other beings. There are all sorts of terrible things going on in the world. There are all sorts of beautiful things going on in the world. Where are you going to be? If you want to shift from a terrible frame of reference where you have multiple negative experiences and you want to be part of a community that's largely positive and healthy, you have to clean yourself up. You can't just bust into the middle of a new scene and not expect to influence it. You have to turn yourself into the kind of person that can harmonize with beauty and love and care, which means you have to stare more honestly at the pain of your past and ask yourself again, was this really someone else's fault? Was this really your fault? Or could you simply learn? Could you simply stare at the past and change it? It's a lot of power to change the past. I encourage a beautiful trick. Make the past into a lesson. So take the worst experience you've identified. I know you've already identified it, right? Take the worst experience you've identified and make it into a lesson. A less on. They did this on purpose. It's a less on. So first, base level, if you're calling something from your past the worst experience you've had, that's a big deal. One of the worst experiences you've had. It's a big deal. Just turn it down. Whatever you think, it didn't go well, right? So you don't want more of that. If you commit to turning it down, let me tell you what's going to happen. You had an intrinsic sense of power and inspiration during that time. That part of you doesn't want to turn it down. That part of you wants to be stronger. And you have to come to terms with the fact it didn't work. Didn't work well enough. Turn it down. Now, what do you got to learn? That's in the lesson. Use the more direct understanding of the word lesson. What do you have to learn that you haven't learned? I'm telling you, if you still resent people from your past, you still resent the worst. Someone who tried to kill you, someone who raped you, someone who stole from you, someone who manipulated you. I'm not telling you that they're great people. I'm telling you, stop measuring them and ask, what do you have to learn? Base level, you don't want to end up in that situation again, right? So what do you really have to do to not end up in that situation again? That's a big question. It deserves time and attention. Gaia wants you to build an exquisite home with a beautiful family and develop cherished sacred gifts that you share with the world. I promise. I promise. That's what she wants for you. Or she wants you to leave. This is the arc of her invitation. First, it's this big party, permissive. She lets everybody learn. She lets everybody fight. She lets people burn shit down. She creates time frames where you're allowed to do all sorts of awful things. Why? Because at first, it's essentially just a game. When you've never lived in the material plane, it's not as consequential when you damage what you're given. In spirit space, when you are pure spirit, you can dissolve and create things like that. So murder doesn't exist quite in the same form. But when we live in this fragile body, all of a sudden, all these different possibilities emerge. And at first, when you incarnate in a body, people don't take it seriously. They keep behaving like it's not a big deal. I'll just start over. That's where they make decisions. The part of their mind that makes decisions is like, well, I'll just start over. And over time, she says, okay, you guys have almost burned this place down now. Time to tighten up. Either choose to cherish it here or leave. She is saying that to everyone. Laura, so good to see you. Bless your heart, Laura. Well, it's a beautiful question. And of course, what I'm doing here is my purpose and my path. And in many ways, my purpose and path, I hope, can be an inspiration to yours. I do not ask these questions anymore. Every day I wake up, almost every day I wake up, and I'm really excited for the day. I'm excited for things I have to do. And that's a beautiful threshold. I think everyone deserves it. And part of that is I'm doing work that's designed to help you find such a space. I assure you, the foundations are very consistent. So first we're looking at how you take care of these, and then we're looking at how that affects your spirit and your mind. So when you take care of what she gave you, which is this, first and foremost, she gave you this, right? You take care of this enough, And it starts bringing up spirit and mind in a way that you get to reflect differently. And it becomes a unique hunt for everyone. You have to end up learning to stalk your truth. Often, this stalking, it's more important for its own sake than for its end. But we think about it as an end. I'm searching for my calling. Or you can do it the other way. You can search for the roots of your trauma. Because often people are suffering in ways that don't fully make sense. And when you search for the roots of the trauma, it takes you on another kind of journey. And it really is the journey that matters. So the question becomes, you wake up, how today can I be on the journey? How can I be on the path of seeking my calling, of seeking my truth? And if you shift your frame to being like, what are these simple steps? You're going to find almost inevitably that Gaia leads you back to the simple. Are you drinking water? Do you have an inspiration to take better care of your water, to keep water in a natural pot of some sort? Do you remember to set water out the night before? What are you eating? Are you investing in what you eat? Are you tending it? We soak walnuts. Oh my God. Guys, you got to soak walnuts the night before. It takes so much of the bitterness out of them and they end up tasting incredible. Next level, Gaia is growing us things that look like the organs they help. Like, this is incredibly funny. Walnuts look like your brain. They feed your brain like nothing else. Soak some walnuts. Soak them the night before, they sprout. It takes the bitterness out. They begin to activate enzymes that are incredibly good for you. Now, I'm saying this because it's a good idea, but I'm also saying it because sometimes when you say, I want to know my calling, Gaia tells you to soak walnuts. That's how it works. If you skip the insights that she's giving you on how to take better care of yourself, that's what she wants you to do. So the principle here is to respect she's already helping you. She's already helping you. She's already prompting you. She's already trying to get you to tune in. Find where you are overlooking or undervaluing her insights and guidance. That's the journey every day. Find those places where she's already trying to help you and follow through. And I bet you, Alora, in this moment, I'm going to tell you that I sense this, that in a certain respect, you seem to be receiving guidance that you're saving for a rainy day. And I suggest that that's a little like trying to save spinach. Like, I noticed that as I love vegetables more and more, I've gone through a phase that sometimes I fall back on, where I will basically try to save vegetables. You can't save vegetables. You've got a narrow window in which to eat them. When you get vegetables, you got to eat vegetables. A lot of spiritual gifts, many spiritual gifts function in this way. So you're being given a gift to use it. Sam, thank you for being here. What a great group we've got today. Nugs Dreams 222. Bless your heart. I'm honored to be a part of that reminding. Love the name. Corey, thank you for being here. Excellent. Oh, that's hilarious. That's awesome. I love it, Corey. Well, I'm tuning in. Oh man, cherish those walnuts. I'm telling you, it's one of the best things I've been adding to my life lately. Soak the walnuts. They taste so much better. Cosmic Man. Oh my gosh. It is really special. So that's what I want to transition into. I gave the message that I wanted to. Now I'm here. Well, it took longer than I thought. I'm sorry to say, but I'm here to answer any questions you've got, any hints that could be valuable for other people. I'll try to frame it that way, regardless. But honestly, I want to celebrate with you. Like, it's really been exciting for me. I'm putting my whole heart into this, and I want to make a point that I don't know that I can always make. There was a problem for a long time, but certainly for like 3 decades, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, there was a real negative problem with spiritual gurus just going awry. And the basic formula is this: you gain insight and experience that is primarily spiritual. There are a lot of ways this can happen, but it's primarily spiritual. And then you bring it into communities that lack it. So you have something that everybody needs and it has a big impact on them. But the primary thing here is we live in a dysfunctional society. It's not normal that we lack so much spiritual presence. It's not healthy historically. Many historical cultures have had more access to spiritual guidance than modern mainstream life does. So when certain individuals trained in these ways and brought it into they have too much power. They're bringing people something they're starving for, and they just look like this. Oh my God, a genius. It's very dysfunctional in lots of ways. YouTube is medicine for this. It's awesome. Even though, quite frankly, I've been pissed regularly that I have not done better through YouTube, I still think it's the best way, because to reach everyone in a way that's a little bit, it humbles you. We don't stand out as much. You can immediately compare different people who are standing up and saying, I've got spiritual gifts and insight to give. Compare us. Now, ultimately, I think it's very dysfunctional. Like, don't set up American Idol, please. Like, that's sick. But the gift of realizing that this is happening all over the world is unparalleled. And it takes the exaggerated power out of the role I play. It's not good for people to have spiritual gifts and then suddenly be overtaking too much from everyone, dominating their minds in a way that makes it hard for you to think with autonomy. YouTube's medicine for these. And the humility of like teaching me to be like, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to celebrate getting 5,000 subscribers. Like, I guess to some folks, maybe that's childish or not spiritually evolved. Fine with me. I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to be a part of something, to participate in something that other people understand. And so, look, it feels great. We've gotten 700 new subscribers just in the past month. I love the feeling that we're tuning in to share in a way that is absolutely true to my calling. This is on my path, but it's also the product of so many other people here. A lot of you help me. Thank you so much for the many gifts that I can't even measure. Like, there's no way we would be just at this point without help from so many of you. And the gift of that is unparalleled. We can do more together than anybody can do on their own. I am so proud, so honored to play this role. It's a trip. It's really weird talking to the computer, but I'm talking to people, but I'm not. Like, it's weird, but there's a beauty to this that it's become a regular part of my life. I look forward to this every week, this lifetime. I look forward to the sanctuary. For those of you who are on the fence, please consider joining us in the sanctuary. You still have the blessing of the old legacy membership because it keeps falling down my to-do list to add a new version. I'm going to add one that costs more. But anybody who signs up at this level, you get to keep it. It's like a beta app out of the world. If you jump on early and demonstrate the support early, you get to keep it ongoing into the future. And you get to join just some of the most beautiful people. Emiliano just joined us, and he's just such an inspiration. His heart is strong. He learns quickly. He shares in a way that makes everybody else want to be their best. I promise you. So when you hop over into the sanctuary and join us and talk, you get to be inspired by other people who are making these changes too. And we're nurturing something. We've got a lot to do, folks. We've got a lot to do. We're helping each other become the kind of people we want to be. It's so exciting. So exciting. And I keep looking at your name, Alora. We miss you around. Alora helped establish so many of the foundations. She set up a community that lasted during a time when our main home base didn't work. She set up a new one quickly. She built the website. She's done so much. And she wrote the song, or she compiled the song, Spirit Tree, which you got to see. You got to hear. There's a video of it, though. Look it up, Spirit Tree, on the channel. It's beautiful. I look forward to more, and it's good to have you here on this day, Alora. Bless you, Jonathan. Bless you, Corey. I'm just going down. Bless you, Doug Streaming. This is great. Good question. How to know our true voice? Well, here, I'm going to give you a hint on this one, Nug Streaming, because this one's big. You can't know your true voice if you've isolated a color in the rainbow and said, that's not me. We are by nature pure light. Pure light refracts into all the colors of the rainbow. Now, I want you to think of this abstractly and then shift it over. Chances are, if you feel out of touch with your true voice, you have decided to silence yourself. Usually through too vulnerable or too angry, too vulnerable or too forceful. So you've decided, I'm not a wuss. I don't complain. I don't cry. I'm tough. Or I'm a nice person. I don't resent other people. I'm not mean and hateful. And therefore, you don't let yourself honor your anger, or you don't let yourself honor your grief. If you've lost your sense of your true voice, likely as not, one of those two choices is the culprit. Now, it can get more intricate than that. There is probably some way in which you've silenced your voice that maybe has more nuance. But the point is, you decided to disavow yourself. And once you disavow yourself in any significant way, it ruins the whole story. It ruins the whole thing. You lose the thread. You lose your core spirit, because your spirit needs a unity. Your spirit needs a unity, crystalline consciousness. Christ consciousness is not something over there to strive for that's beyond belief. It's normal, and we fuck it up by not tuning into the truth of ourselves and each other. We project, we say, those kind of people are mean, not like me, I'm nice. I cannot tell you the transition I went through when I learned to get angry. I never used to get angry at other people. I would never get angry, and I thought I was a good person because I didn't get angry. And then I started to learn to get angry, and I was explosive. I had to be the kind of person that I judged. I thought I was better than other people because I never expressed my resentment or anger. Then I had to be it, and then it was problematic. I was too loud. I was too aggressive. I hurt people. I didn't control my temper well enough, and I've had to spend a lot of time learning to find that balance where I express my truth and I speak it with realness, rawness, courage, care, but I also modulate it. I restrain myself enough to be honest and compassionate amidst the bad feelings, to draw boundaries with grace rather than aggression every time I can. We don't get to permanently isolate one aspect of ourselves and say, I'm never that. You have to find balance. And that's where you'll find your true calling. Oh, sure. So Sam asks, what is a first session with me like? What would be a good way to introduce this to someone? It's important because in many ways, a lot of you might not even know that the experience that we can share exists. I see people very deeply, and I can see you all over the world. And that's uncomfortable at first. So the first thing to appreciate is I would not have been given this gift if I didn't love people a lot and love people with a lot of integrity. That's how I earned this. I have great compassion for every form of suffering I encounter. And I have very good boundaries. So one of the main reasons I can see people so deeply is because I can step out of it. And I do so with grace and care and a prayer for you. So when I meet someone, first of all, I've dealt with a lot of my own problems. And I deal with anything new in a conscious way with my own support. So thus, when I meet with you, I'm here. I'm here for you. And I say, what is the best way I can support this human being? The spiritual energy readings I give are an incredibly good way to identify what's the best steps you can take in your life. Of all the things that you know, you could probably list me 20 problems, 20 things you'd like to change, 20 things you'd like to improve or add to your life. But what is most possible? What is most available to shift and move and grow? That's what we focus on. And we can do that in different ways. That can be unique for each person. I adjust for the person. So we get an overview of what you care about, what you bring into the session. And then I give you an overview of what I see. And we contrast those things. So I can help you put in perspective. I know you're working really hard for this. I encourage you to put that down. I think you're going to make more progress if you focus over here. In many ways, that's so practical, but it's one of the greatest gifts I can give people, because prioritizing means the work you put in to the themes we discuss is probably going to go a long way. And work you put in over here, this other thing you're working on, maybe you're just walking into a wall, because that's not actually the best place to try to create movement in your life. So that's one of the simplest ways to appreciate what we can do. Now, what does it feel like? Look, I care about you. I really do. I sit here and I'm going to care. I care about people who have done some of the worst things on the planet. I've encountered all of the worst kind of people in my life. And I found again and again, the best way to relate to them was actually to care about them. Now, that's not the same thing as being nice all the time or even staying. So I have left a lot of people who don't want to work. They don't want to do their work, but I leave them with a prayer. So base level, that's how I would handle you at your worst. If you don't want to do your work, we'll only have one session. And I say that, quite upfront. This is how I handle everybody. I'm always holding a sense of, look, this is what I see. I think you got to do this. I think you got to be more honest with yourself. I think you've got to be more disciplined with yourself. And here's how, and I'll support you in doing it. But you got to do it. And some folks don't want to do that. So that would be the first reason people don't stay around, because a lot of people don't want to be seen honestly. You think you're hiding, you're not hiding. You think you're hiding your worst sides. You're not hiding. You're not hiding. Look, I'm one of maybe not that many human beings that can stare right in and know you. There are plenty of others. But I'm a prominent person, certainly in my community and culture. I can stare at you and I can see everything you are hiding. So you have to be ready for that. And absolutely normal on a spiritual plane. Whether you believe in spiritual guidance or not, whether you believe in the presence of angels or not, this is how they see. You're not hiding anything from them. And if you're more comfortable with using God, God sees everything. Now, I encourage you to become present with the fact that we can address this practically. And if you want to be willing, if you just want to be willing to know yourself honestly, I can help you. I can help you trust that the work you're doing is the most valuable work that you could do for now. And in the future, that changes, because every step we take unravels a bit of the tangle of our lives and puts us in a smoother, more focused perspective and makes us ready for perhaps an even deeper challenge. And I'll be with you for that as well, if you're ready to take it on. Now, I do give homework, almost always includes yoga and some meditation. We tailor that for you. And ideally, leave you with a sense of confidence that if you do follow through with the guidance that we choose together, you're going to be in a better place. I can help you live a better life. And that can be radical and that can be simple. So if you're interested, please get in touch. I'm here. Alora. Oh. Oh. There is a session sample on the website, a session tab. So if you go to the website, there's a thing that says sessions. Click the tab. Maybe I renamed it. That's why the link doesn't work. I don't know. But stick with it. Follow through. Get to us. I'd love to connect with you. Guys, we are about to shift over to the sanctuary. For the time being, this is open to the public. So we want you to be able to see what it looks and feels like to be a part of what we're doing. So you don't have to sign up to be a part of the sanctuary to join us in the live meeting where we're going to share a meditation. And to be honest, today we're going to hang out more than ever. I just want to share some of this spirit of joy. And there's a beautiful transition going on in this community and in the world. So we're going to share it. We'll be live together. You're welcome to join us. Go to the website, community tab. There's a little button that says join the live meeting on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. So please remember, or at 11. Tuesdays at 10, we're live on YouTube. Tuesdays at 11, we always have this meditation gathering. So you're welcome to join us. I look forward to seeing you. And welcome several other people, several new people signed up for the sanctuary last week. I look forward to seeing you. Please show up. Please introduce yourself. The two of you who have not. And if you have any questions, please contact me directly. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your appreciation, your time, and your heart. There's one more thing. Someone's waiting with a question and they think it's too late, but do it because I feel it. I wouldn't feel this if it wasn't valuable. F. Gikio. F. Gikio. I wish I could say that properly. Bless your heart. Thank you for being here. Who is it? You got a question? I know it's lingering. I sense it. Oh, no, it's not a very nice person. That's who I'm tuning into. They want to race me. Look, I'm going to say something very clearly, and I would like you to appreciate this. Please help me hold this. It matters. This is not somebody's tuning in, and I want you to hear this. I believe music in the world, but certainly in the United States, has been done a terrible disservice through the advent of these competition shows. It's awful because music is a sacred gift that we should all be sharing much more of. We should all be creating it. The world has a terrible absence of people who play music with each other. It is so medicinal to our spirit and our minds and our bodies to share music. And so to create a structure where we are driving, it's not just the people. The musicians are taught to compete. They're taught to compete. These are people who should be playing together, teaching each other songs and spreading the best songs, because we have a terrible lack of good musicians in the world. And yet we're taking the few we have that are good enough and we're making them fight with each other. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. If you like someone else, don't compare us. This is for the audiences. When the audiences are staring at those different musicians, just permanently saying, he's a little better than her. And her voice cracked. No, she's not as good. That is an awful mind to be in charge. As much as I'm honored to be a part of something like a global internet where I could teach a lot of different people, and as much as I appreciate that you can compare me, go visit other teachers and recognize what we say that's similar and what we say that's different. Make choices by all means with how you spend your time, but don't pit us against each other. I'm not here to race with you. I'm not here to prove to you that I'm better than someone else or worse than someone else or like someone else or not. We give what we give and we do the best we can. And I'm inspired by other people doing a wonderful job, and we're supposed to be on the same team. And anybody who's out there teaching in a way that is constantly fighting, constantly saying I'm better than you, is doing our entire heart, the entire calling of the awakening of the earth. You're doing us a disservice. Set it down. Set it down. Become a new kind of person that wants the best for the world. Understand, those of us who are hearing this calling, thousands and thousands of people who are hearing this calling and doing our best to serve it, we're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to share. We're supposed to work together. And anything less than that is a toxicity, a sickness from the past that we inherit, that it's our job to put down. So please help in that way, because this is a safe place. We're making a sanctuary where people should be free from such comparisons. Because underneath those is the straight source, straight connection to the earth. She's trying to teach a lot of us to stand up together. It's her job to make these choices, not yours. Jen, Isadora. I heard Isadora in my head this morning before I got on. That's cool. That's not common. So welcome here. Welcome here. Thank you for being here, Jen Isadora. Now it's your turn, Alora. Please try. Just give it a shot and let me tune in. Return to freedom. We've got quite a crew today. This is beautiful. Thank you for being here, everybody. I appreciate your spirits. It's not just I appreciate your spirits. And I'm going to linger a little longer just in case you, Elora, are ready to frame that question. Yes, all is one and all is returning into the one. And this can be practical. This is practical. When you meet someone and they presence their strength and their beauty, are they trying to teach you to think that they're better than other people? That's a sickness. It's up to everyone to choose how you spend your time. But I might listen to this person or that person just based on my affinity, my harmony with them. I don't need to denigrate someone else. It's not necessary. And I do see that as a toxic behavior. I've lost some of my greatest heroes. One of my greatest guitar music heroes. I loved him, loved his music. And I heard him get on stage once and basically claim to be the best guitarist in the world. I totally stopped listening to him. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, why are you saying that? What an arbitrary, abstract idea. Like, there are lots of different ways to play the guitar. What if you're playing the guitar in a way that destroys the bird songs? Is that really good? Maybe you suck at tuning into the bird songs. Maybe you suck at tuning into the earth song itself. Just because you can move your fingers fast doesn't really do it. There are lots of ways to measure who's good. Emiliano, this is so beautiful. It's always both. So here's the beauty of the third eye. The third eye is both a witness and a creator. The art you're tuning into is the foundation for being an incredible healer and creator. It's so cool. It doesn't get boring, Emiliano. I want you taking our courses, all right? Because this is where it goes. The third eye can oof, I'm so excited. I'm like talking over myself before I speak. The third eye sees what's possible and generates what it sees. So you can assert what you want to imagine, but then learn to honor the ways it doesn't work. So that's the world pushing back on you. So you're asserting what you're trying to create, but then you're allowing that to be altered. The gift of this is unparalleled. First of all, you have to believe it. Your third eye is creating reality. This is what visualization, manifestation is. But don't leave it there. It's not just a mechanical experience. You're putting it out there and then you're being subtle. You're saying, what do you think, world? What do you think, Gaia? How should I change this? And gradually you get this higher level skill. A higher level skill than purely asserting your visualization is to allow your visualization to adjust. It becomes a conversation. Beautiful. It's always both. The more you feel it, the more effective you'll be at living here in the earth, not on the earth or in the earth. What a beautiful question, Alora. First of all, the core root that keeps people from healing past trauma is exposing. So we do the best we can, right? We live through traumatic times and then typically we patch together life. And one of the major things people do is they compartmentalize the pain and try to shield it. Now, this is a natural instinct that's trying to say, I need to protect myself. But that becomes very dysfunctional when you don't let anyone in to see and be present. If you don't allow a witness where you're really hurting, it can't heal. So base level is you have to aim for that. But it can be eventual, it can be gradual, it can be a journey. So you basically get on a journey where you look at what's in front of you. You may well not be ready to go right into the deepest, rawest, most vulnerable pain. So you build your strength. So you go on this journey where you commit to building your strength and you start asking questions about your past and you learn to reframe it. Ultimately, spoiler alert, this leads to reincarnation. This leads to you having to come to terms with the fact that you've lived other lifetimes. Now, honestly, I actually encourage you to think of it this way. Anything that's been done to you, consider maybe you did it to someone else. Gaia has had me hold themes for years under the assumption that I actually did something before telling me you actually didn't do it. I gave you this karma. I gave you this as a challenge. I wanted you to help me clean up this mess. By the way, you volunteered. You volunteered to do what I wanted you to do. So I gave you a big mess. We don't just always experience something we've done. You don't have to just blanketly think, well, somebody hit me, so I must have hit someone in a past life. Somebody killed me, so I must have killed someone in a past life. But by contemplating it as if that's true, you get out of the sense of hating the person who did it. You start to relate to the sense that maybe you did that once. Maybe that's why this happened to you. And it softens the deep primal rage of the child that's been violated. You got to soften that righteousness because it prevents you from letting go, keeps us stuck in the past. Don't know why it happened. No less. Be more open. And in that gentleness, you return again and again and again. What can I do today? What can I do today? Typically, this honestly comes back to the basics. Eat well, exercise, call your mother and say you love her. If she bothers you too much and drains you, write her a note instead. Make better boundaries with your mother. You just go through this art. Keep going. And spirit will reveal the best place to put your focus. And that's probably as much as I can do in this format. But thank you so much for asking, Alora, because it applies to so many people. Dungeon Crueler, glad to have you here. Quite heavy. It's super deep, eh? And we're here to dance through it. So I can't say enough. Thank you for being here. We have crossed a threshold where basically there are enough people who are invested in this that something is working spiritually that didn't used to work. I'm excited to watch this grow, but I have to tell you, I'm in the joy of knowing like there's a certain foundation that we needed to create and we've done it. Thank you for being a part of it. It's a joy to move through these. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be able to play the role I play with you all. I'm grateful to be my truth and honored that in many ways I'm here to help you be yours. Thank you for your magic. We love you in your lives. We are here to share with you a truth and a depth of understanding that helps you stay grounded and takes the pressure off the other people in your life. You want to keep loving your sister and your best friend from childhood and your parents and your spouse, but it's hard when you don't get what you need, when you don't have the spiritual affinity, the connection, the community that you need to trust that you're not just not crazy. You're crazy in the most beautiful of ways. You are joyful pioneers of a new way of life. It took boldness and courage and grace for you to be who you are already. Likely as not, most of you need to hear that so much more than you do. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being brave and bold and beautiful and coming back to love. Thank you for wanting a new world that's full of more joy and more care and more respect and appreciation for our spirit and for the earth herself. Thank you for being here. Much love. What? Oh my God. What is it? There's something lingering still. I love you guys. We're going to like drag out the meditation apparently. Allura receptivity within. Good for you, Otter. We are never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. I'll see you all soon. Hop over to the sanctuary and join us. Come back next week. Tell a friend. Much love. Be with you and your family.